What's up, YouTube? In this video, I'd like to discuss what I would have liked Alien Romulus to look like, or basically any new Alien movie that is attempting to revitalize the franchise and breathe new life into the IP. What direction I would have wanted it to take, as opposed to the one that we got. And why it is, as a fan, that I feel that the franchise does not have a bright future ahead of it, and I must step down and kind of come off the bandwagon and spare myself the displeasure and disappointment of re-engaging with it, and just enjoy the classics for what they are. And whenever I want to come back to them every once in a while, enjoy that experience. So to start off with Romulus, what I did not want to see is an uninspired attempt of just rehashing the same storyline, the same action sequences that were present in all of the preceding films, taking legacy characters that have already played their part and had a fantastic character arc that was portrayed to conclusion and their story has been told. I don't want you to bring them back into this movie. It just makes no sense, and it tarnishes their story in a really cheap way. It feels like a really lazy attempt to garner favor with fans, almost like, look, we brought back this character. See, now you gotta like this because we know you really liked him in the first movie. Or see, the same sequence that played out in the second movie, it's playing out in this one as well. And the protagonist, well, she's like the old protagonist, but she's just a younger and cool version of her right now that kind of fits with this generation's vibe. And it just, what it shows you is that it's not an attempt on crafting an actual movie based on a story that needs to be told in the setting of the intriguing and dreadful alien universe. It's not that. It shows you that this was nothing of the sort. That this is just an attempt to monetize off of the legacy of the franchise by making this abomination of a film. And so that's not what I would have wanted to see. What I wanted to see was a beautiful story, an interesting story, something that is worth writing and making a film about. That fleshes out the muscle and sinew and bone that a movie can stand on. You can't just make a movie on a theme if you don't have an interesting characters, an interesting character, if you don't have an intriguing and captivating plot that goes somewhere, if you don't have original new concepts in it, you can't just make a theme movie because there's nothing to be told. And that's exactly what happened with this movie. So that's first. I would have loved to see a movie that says that has a story to tell, with a deep character developmental arcs that you can follow, and is set in the Alien universe, and in a seamless way incorporates the elements that make that universe so terrifying and unique and so fascinating, that in a way that has managed to capture the hearts and minds of fans like myself for decades. Incorporate that in a story. That is the first thing. Because what we got is not a story. This is not a plot worthy of filming. As can clearly be seen by anybody who witnessed this abomination in cinema. Somebody wrote a really good comment on my former video that I made, which I'll try to right now find and read again, because I just found it so true. Let's see. He said, Disney is... So, at Matt Waldron wrote this. Disney is too shit scared of releasing a movie that could possibly devalue the Alien license. So they release something like this, the cinematic equivalent of treading water. Repackaging and re-releasing the same old stuff with a slightly different paint job. It's very sad that this is what cinema has been reduced to now. Someone needs to create some new licenses and have the balls to tell a cool and compelling story. And I agree with everything this person said. I couldn't have stated it better even if I wanted to. So that's exactly the problem here. And that's what all of us would have liked to see. So for example, I would have loved to see a movie that takes place in the setting of Earth, in that timeline of Alien, whether it's Alien 1 or between Alien 1 and Aliens, something along that era in the cinematic timeline, and kind of that really showcases this dystopia. And we almost kind of got a slight glimpse of that in Aliens. And I know people love Aliens. I love it too. It's a phenomenal movie, and it does well on so many different metrics. But one of the things that I found really compelling in Aliens was the first kind of half hour of that movie, where you see Ripley in this station dealing with these corporate suits and trying to cover up what happened on the Nostromo, and then trying to expose what really happened against their opposition, obviously, and being kind of reprimanded for that, and then how they're trying to use her expertise to drag her back to the planet. I love that whole sequence of events. It really built up the vibe and atmosphere of that movie. And it gave you kind of a glimpse of that world, that corporate nightmare, corporatocracy that has taken over human society. Something that is very reminiscent, for instance, of the Blade Runner universe, also made by Ridley Scott. And I always felt like Blade Runner and Alien, these two universes have to merge in some way. And kind of, I don't know, because it felt right at the time in the late 90s. Two iconic cinematic monsters, the Predators and Alien, and they kind of got merged together in a way, and I get it. It fits also, but I would have loved to see the Blade Runner universe meet the Alien universe. And I think that a movie set in Earth, in a setting like Blade Runner, where you have the Weyland-Yutani Corporation doing something shady and experimental that they're trying to cover up, that goes out of hands, and a scandal is emerging, and some individual, a protagonist, if you will, in this setting, discovers that and is grappling with what they should do about it. And here's the thing, their characteristics are more gray and ambiguous, and you can't really read them out as well. Not like Rain, who is, to me, and I'm nothing against the actress. I think she's a fine actress, but the way that her character was written is just terribly bland. There's no interesting development happening with her. She is this goody two shoes, morally perfect, saintly character who views the value of her synthetic friend Andy as deemed highly important, and wants him to join her in their escape attempt from the hellhole. I don't remember even the name of that mining planet they were on. And she always knows what the right thing to do is, and she's always on the moral side of things, and there's no confusion at all with that character. It's just she's just goody two shoes, vanilla kind of hero, and it's boring. Who likes that? I don't. I like my characters to have flaws. I like them to be more rough and curious. Something that resembles people in the real world, and not just manufactured archetypes or caricatures. So having this kind of setting where you have this dark, dystopian, corporate nightmare of a planet where Weyland-Yutani is experimenting with, for instance, bring the original alien. Somehow they found the original alien that Ripley blasted into space in the first movie, right? And they're doing some things with its genetic material and trying to create some kind of compound, whether it's for militaristic purposes or longevity or whatever it is. And it goes out of hands, and something scandalous happens, and they're trying desperately to cover it up, and our main protagonist has somehow kind of encountered that and is trying to expose it while grappling themselves with morality. And maybe you could have made that character into a synthetic, which would have even been more interesting, because then you would have had to kind of explore these concepts. Do synths even have qualms with ethical and moral issues? And if they do, how would that play out in a movie? And so it would have opened the door for a lot of philosophical and interesting explorations, and taken the alien themes and instilled them into a really cool idea. And that's just one idea, and that could have also kind of opened up another door for perhaps a franchise where you have a xenomorph outbreak on Earth eventually, like the Earth Wars. What a fucking cool thing that would have been to see on cinema, right? As a second movie. And you could have, by doing so, made the first movie with this kind of have a more slow horror, subdued on the action partake, similar to the first Alien, and then that's kind of like where you pay homage to the movie, but in an original and interesting way. You don't just copy paste characters and scenes and then say that that's paying tribute. That's not paying tribute. That's just plagiarizing the original movie in a really sloppy way with less interesting characters, and it's just stupid. Nobody wants to see that. At least, I don't know, nobody that I talk to. And so you could have done that with the first movie. Make it almost kind of like a slow-burning thriller horror, and with this whole conspiracy being unraveled. And then the second movie, you could have made something about the breakout of the xenomorphs, of the aliens, into the world, and how society deals with that. And that could have been jam-packed with fantastic action and mind-blowing practical effects. And that would have paid homage to Aliens, right? And then make a third movie where Earth becomes this barren, isolated, destroyed nightmare, hellscape, where you have a bunch of kind of nihilistic survivors trying to get by. And that would have maybe paid some homage in the vibe and atmosphere to Alien 3. So that, for instance, is something I would have liked to see with the franchise. And note, right, none of the ideas that I just threw out there had anything to do with trying to explore the origins of the alien or the engineers or why it is that they are the way that they are or how were they made or where are they from. I think that maybe that concept was a bit of a mistake. I think you need to have a really competent and really talented writer to pull off this stunt of unveiling the mystery and mystique, which is kind of what makes the xenomorphs and the aliens interesting and fascinating from the get-go, and make it work by giving this exposition. And as clearly has been proven by Ridley Scott's, I believe, failed attempt at doing so. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Prometheus. I'm not one of the crowd that has a hate warning for that movie. I loved the cinematography of that movie. I thought the actors also were great. I really did. I think Noomi Rapace is a great actress, and Michael Fassbender, as I've mentioned in my previous video, he's a terrific actor. And Guy Pearce, I fucking love him as well. And the movie had a lot of interesting things going for it. And I think that if they would have done something else with Covenant, then perhaps people would have looked back more fondly at it. But obviously, I think it failed as a concept. Hence this also reboot attempt. So you don't have to expose or discover or explore the origins of them at all. You can just use the xenomorphs, the aliens, what makes them fascinating to begin with, and inject that theme into a really fascinating story. And that alone would have been enough for me. I would have creamed my pants for that. And then in there, you could have taken a lot of interesting material from the comics and other alternative media that has kind of built a respectable and awesome lore around the Alien franchise throughout the years. There's so many good ideas from there that could have been turned into fantastic movies. So that's what I think many fans, including myself, would have loved to see. And we didn't get that. We got... What did we get? We got a Disney Frankenstein-esque abomination of a movie. I can't tell the difference between this and The Force Awakens. And that, to me, is a major issue. Because it feels like they're not even movies. It's just like some kind of theme park ride, almost. Ironic, right? Because that's kind of what Disney also is known for in Disney World and Disneyland, right? They're amusement parks. Which I can say back in the day, the 90s, I enjoyed them for what they were when I was a kid. But it just doesn't feel like they're even movies. It feels like they are a formula, a precise formula dictated by corpos in suits that sat there and decided that this is what we should do so that that will give us the highest probability of bringing in more fans and people into the cinema so we can get money. That's kind of what it feels like. Both movies kind of attempted to just remake the same movie that has already been made before with like the guy who wrote the comment on my previous video with a fresh new paint coat on it. That's it. And it's almost amazing, like the parallels that you can see between the Star Wars sequels and this movie. Bringing back legacy characters that already concluded their story, and all you can do by bringing them back is ruin and tarnish their established legacy among the fandom, which is what they did with Star Wars, which is what, I don't know, with Ash, it was just kind of fucking stupid in this movie, and Romulus as well. Use the same overarching story elements again. Try to recreate the hero in a similar manner. It was just nothing original, nothing intelligent. A formula The script, I've seen another channel review this movie, felt like somebody went on ChatGPT. That's not my take. I mean, I agree with this 100%, but it's not my original take on this. I don't remember the channel, just some two dudes who I think repair like VCRs or something like that. I don't know their name. I don't remember. I'll have to look on my YouTube history. But they basically said that this movie feels like somebody went on ChatGPT and just told ChatGPT, look, just take all the things that made Alien, Aliens, Alien 3 what it is, Resurrection, Covenant, Prometheus, and just like take all the elements from all of them and try to like make a script that will incorporate all these cool things into one movie so that all these member berries and nostalgia pieces, it could be like a grotesque funhouse of nostalgia for old fans that they can come back into and they can say, yay, look, he said, stay away from her, you bitch. Whoa, the black goo is here. Oh my god, the creepy baby alien hybrid thing like from Resurrection, that's here also. Oh my god, that scene, like when Ripley held the pulse rifle in Aliens. Well, look, Rain is doing it now when she's descending in the elevator to save the synth this time instead of Newt. And somebody wrote on my other video a comment about how the scene that they took from Alien 3, which I was kind of like finding a hard time when I made that video, I couldn't really think of it, was when Rain was facing the xenomorph in the elevator shaft in a manner that was almost identical to how Ripley was being faced with the xenomorph in Alien 3. So yeah, put that as well in there, and just literally the AI came up with this mashed script, and that's what they went with. So I don't think that Fede Alvarez had free reign on this movie at all. I know that he didn't, because then this movie wouldn't feel like the literal same formula that Star Wars, the sequels, are. It just would not. I could not just identify all of these parallel issues that exist in both of them. And you know what it feels like? It doesn't feel like an alien movie. It doesn't feel like a sci-fi movie or a horror or an action movie. It just feels like a corporate Disney movie, just like Star Wars does, just like anything that they'll do. And so it doesn't feel like Fede Alvarez did this. That's my take. So let me know, how would you have liked to see a new Alien movie go about? What kind of concepts or storylines or direction would you have enjoyed witnessing in the cinema? If you agree with me that Romulus wasn't it. And if you did enjoy Romulus, as clearly some people on my previous video said that they did, congrats. I'm not just, hating to be a hater. And if you got something out of it and it entertained you and you came out of the cinema with a smile on your face, then fuck yeah, man. Then at least Disney did something good. And some people got something good out of it. Fantastic. I'm not trying to hate. So, please keep enjoying it. But if you don't, and you feel similar to how I feel about it, tell me, let me know in the comments. What would you have liked to see? And to close this video off, because I feel like I'm ranting too long here, the reason I'm unhopeful for this franchise is, again, because it's owned by Disney now, and I don't feel like Disney has any intention of trying to create interesting new films with sophisticated and engaging plots. I think that they are extremely cynical and purely profit-oriented, and I don't think art can truly thrive in an environment like this. And so I think we're going to get something very similar to what we got with Star Wars. Just more cowardly, cheap attempts at trying to cash in on nostalgia with extremely poorly written scripts, pathetic character dialogues, shallow character arcs and characters. It's just nothing that makes film magical. No magic. And again, that is quite the irony. Because if I recall, back in the 90s, Disney was one of the best in instilling magic into film. I still remember watching The Lion King as a kid and Aladdin, talking about the animated movies, of course, and a lot of other Disney owned IPs, and they were truly magical. And I feel like none of that exists anymore. Like it's all been sucked out. And Disney's just this corporate, soulless shell, still wearing Mickey Mouse's corpse, in an attempt to make money, and it's gross. So that's my take on it. And if you feel differently or you feel the same, let me know. See ya.